Hello and welcome back. Today's video is me giving you 5 things which we learned from the game against Plymouth. The game ended 1-1, but before I tell you about the 5 things which we learned from the game, I do want to talk about my match reaction from last night. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I want to say I got a little bit too emotional, and watching it back, I was a little bit harsh with what I was saying in the video. I'm angry. I am angry because going into that game, I felt it was a great opportunity for us to pick up 3 points at home against a team that is around us in the championship table. It would have been a good start to start a good run of form and try and get out of the bottom 3 and really kind of get our season going, because it hasn't got going. So that's what I was hoping for. And then for us to walk away and not get the 3 points. Okay, we got a point, but we didn't get 3 points. It just frustrates me because I don't know where the wins are coming from, and that's why I think we're going to get relegated, and that's why I've lost a bit of faith in these group of players, and that's why I don't believe anymore, essentially. I just don't believe in the group of players. I just don't think they've got enough in them to get out of this mess. I can't see us scoring enough goals to win a game of football. But the overall performance, it wasn't terrible. We did create enough chances to win the game. Unfortunately, that one moment defensively in the second half let us down. We got away with one in the first half with the offside goal, which was not offside. Overall, we got away with it, and unfortunately in that second half, we let ourselves down with that equaliser which Plymouth got, and we've walked away with only a point. But let's start off by talking about a positive from the game. Nordas. What a great first start in a Luton shirt for him. I thought he was great. He found out a couple of hours before kickoff that he was going to start. Morris was ill for the game. He could have scored after 3 minutes. He had a free header in the 6-yard box. It was a great cross in from Alfie. I wish that went in. That would have been a perfect start to the game, and that would have put us 1-0 up. According to the stats, he didn't actually win many aerial battles. I thought he won quite a bit, but it turns out he only won 5 aerial battles in the air against a Plymouth defender. I thought he won a lot more. Elijah Adebayo didn't win a single header, by the way, from the game. He was trying his best to link up the play. I felt he did look a little bit confused in a 2-man striker partnership. I think he's used to playing just with him up top. At times, it felt like he didn't know when to commit for a challenge or try his best to win an aerial battle. And I guess that will take time because he's still used to playing with these group of players. He's still very new, he's still very fresh. I was surprised that he actually played 80 odd minutes, to be honest with you, considering where his match sharpness is at, and that was his first start. I thought he'd done quite well, and I have to admit, I want to see him start for the game against Watford on Sunday. I think he will get better with more minutes under his belt. Of course, he did set up the goal. It was a lovely guided flick on to Brown, who managed to get past the defender. He beat the goalkeeper, and he put us 1-0 up. Talking about Brown, he's the second point I wanted to talk about, and what a great impact he had in the game. Literally scored after 30 seconds. I'm not the biggest fan of him, as we all know. I have been very vocal about him and how I feel like at times he offers nothing on the pitch, but at least he had an impact. And when I see a player come off the bench, I want to see a player have an impact on the pitch. That's why you've been brought on. You've been brought on to have an impact. So I'm glad he had an impact and got us a goal. He could have had 2 goals. He had a free header in the 6-yard box. It was a lovely ball into the box from the corner. He needs to guide that into a corner. He was unmarked. No one challenging him. He needs to guide that in. And that was a very crucial time in the game because Plymouth just got their goal, and if you scored that, you looked like you could go on to win the game and walk away with the 3 points. The one thing which I do want him to stop doing is going down far too easily. He needs to stay on his feet. I do think he's a little bit too lightweight. He needs to be able to be a little bit smarter in winning those cheap fouls. It got to the point where everyone around me, because we were trying to keep the ball up the pitch, he wasn't keeping the ball. It was going to him and he was losing it straight away, and it was because he was trying to win these cheap fouls and he wasn't strong enough in holding on to the Plymouth defender, and they were getting their foot in and they were getting stuck in and they were using their strength, and Brown just couldn't contain it. And it frustrated me because he was trying to win those fouls and he needed to do a lot more. I did find it very silly towards the end of the game that we were just going long to him. He isn't going to win many headers in the air. I found it mental that we were going long to him and Ali in the last 10 minutes. Brown didn't win a single header against a Plymouth defender, so it made no sense to keep lumping it up in the air. We should have kept the ball on the ground. And that does move me to my third point in this video, and that is the consistency in keep going long throughout the whole 98 minutes. At times it worked, but I have to admit I was getting frustrated the amount of times we were doing it. When you go long, you need to go long with purpose. You need to have a little bit of conviction. When Nordas set up that goal for Brown, Alfie played the ball to Nordas with conviction. It was a clear long ball to Nordas. Nordas was in front of the Plymouth defender. The ball's delivered into Nordas at a good height for him to win the flick on. That's what we've got to do. We don't just lump it for the sake of lumping it. Thomas Kaminski is one of the worst for this, by the way. He will just lump it into an area, not to a Luton player. And a Luton player's got to run 10 to 15 yards to try and challenge a Plymouth defender in winning it. Thomas Kaminski is one of the worst for it. But we all know his kicking isn't the best. And McGuinness also does it quite a lot as well, and they just lump it and it's to no one at times. Give our strikers a chance to win that header. But at times it just kept happening throughout the game. And I had a look at the amount of headers that Plymouth defence won. And I mean the whole of the back five. They won 76 of their headers across the game. That's mental. So you would like to think, why didn't we not change it up a little bit? And I did notice when we were being front-footed, when we were dribbling at those Plymouth players, they didn't like it. They kept fouling us. They kept doing, tactical fouls. And fair play for them for doing that. But they didn't like it, and they knew that if they just fouled us, we would just keep going long on a free kick and not play it short and move the ball quickly. I thought we looked our most dangerous, getting onto the ball, moving it quickly and running at the Plymouth players. And also I do think the players do need to use their brain a little bit. I've already mentioned it, but going long to Brown and Ali does not make any sense. Those are two strikers under 6 foot. They're not going to win anything. So let's play the ball on the ground. And that kind of does move me on to my next point, and that is playing the back 5, back 3 system, which we've now moved back to because it has been successful in the past, and it's what this group of players know very well under Rob Edwards, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it, and I feel like with this system as well, we are reverting back to old ways, and that is going long for the sake of going long. I think at our best, it's when the ball's on the ground and we're moving it quickly. Yes, we have seen improvements over the last 2 games. I'm not denying that at all. But this system for me only works because of Cal Naismith. You take Cal Naismith out of this system, it does not work. And then you've got to revert back to a back 4. For me as well, in January, we recruited players to play a 4-2-3-1 formation. Asgard, Ali, Bola, they're not going to have the impact which we want them to have playing in a back 3, back 5 system. They are wide attacking players, an attacking midfielder. They want to get on the ball, they want to be creative, they want to get down the byline and they want to put balls into the box. They want to drive into the box and have shots at goal, cut inside and just be creative. And I can't see them doing it playing in a back 5, back 3 system. In the long term as well, Bloomfield does not want to play this formation. I think we should go back to a back 4. You can play Cal Naismith in a back 4 easily, in my opinion. Because when you play a back 3 as well, I don't know if you've noticed, over the last 2 games, the goals we have conceded, it relies on defenders being organised, being very disciplined, being able to read the game correctly and stepping up when needing to, making sure that they don't allow runners, making sure they take responsibility. And we saw the goal against Sheffield United. McGuinness, he didn't step up along with the other defenders. And then that allowed the Sheffield United player to stay onside and score that goal. Against Plymouth, Amari Bell, he didn't check that runner. I'm convinced in a back 4, those types of goals don't happen. Now, I know people might say, well, Lewis, look at the goals we conceded against Oxford. Yes, granted, yeah. We allowed someone to have a free header in the 6-yard box. But I do think with playing a back 4, the midfield in particular, we haven't been split open in the midfield as much as we used to in a back 3. and in a back five. I just think in a back four, players take more responsibility. And when Nathan Jones kept us up in the Championship a couple of years ago, we were playing a back four. We didn't play this back three, back five system. And that does move me on to my final point, Cal Naismith. I mentioned how impactful he is, especially if we want to play a back three, back five formation. But he has had a fantastic impact. The leadership, the organisation, the communication. I think even the little things like making sure that Kaminsky doesn't stay on his goal line. He makes sure that Thomas comes out and collects the ball. Playing out from the back, he's really progressive with the ball. He wins his battles, he wins a lot in the air as well. Imagine if we had him at the start of the season. I do think he could have been very impactful for us, and we might have grinded out a couple more results if we had him in the side. As we've only got him on a short-term basis, is he someone we bring in on a permanent deal next summer? Could we convince him to play League One football? Because I do think that's where we are going. Hopefully he signs for us on a permanent deal, because we do need that leadership. So that does bring me on to the end of the video. Sunday is a massive game against Watford. I do struggle to see how we are going to get something from the game, but that's down to the players to show me that they have fight and the desire that they actually do want to stay up in the Championship. I am a bit concerned about what Sunday is going to bring. Anything can happen in a derby game. Is that going to be the game that kickstarts our season? I don't want to keep saying that sentence, but is it going to be? Fingers crossed it does. I'm praying for a win. I'm just praying. I feel sorry for Bloomfield. Yes, he's been at fault for one or two things, but not as many faults as these current group of players. I just want him to get his first win. Unfortunately, big losing mentality here at Luton, so fingers crossed we can just figure out a way to try to stay up, but I think it's too much. I think it's too much to ask for. But let me know what you think down below in the video comments. Drop a like on today's video. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and if you'd like to become a member, the link is in the description below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.